Get a Job in Tech, episode 130. This is the last day of the year. This is last day of 2020, actually. And if you're listening to this in the future, in a in in a in another parallel universe, and you're like, uh, virus, COVID virus, what's that, right? Yeah, in our universe, in our parallel universe, in our Earth, if you will, we had COVID for the most part of 2020. Probably all of it, really, 2020. So, obviously, it's get a job in tech, right? That's what I talk about. I think it's really important, actually, nowadays to talk about getting a job and getting extra income and anything to do to lower your expenses, to just prepare yourself for if you want to move. A lot of folks are moving from California, they're moving to Texas. A lot of folks are moving from New York, they're moving to Florida, they're moving to Texas. A lot of companies are moving as well, rightly so, because of taxes, because of whatever. And what that means probably is, you figure somebody making 130, 140, 150 a year in California. And they move to Texas, they move to Dallas, they move somewhere else. And so move to an area and their houses in Texas, some of them, let's say, I know some places in Dallas, the houses are like $265,000, $300,000. And so there's obviously demand, right? So you have a lot of people coming in the housing area. They can, they can raise the prices of houses because there's a lot of demand. Maybe there's demand, right? And then people can have enough funds to go ahead and just buy cash for that house. Almost like Silicon Valley in the early, what was it, late to early 2000s, where you had a lot of individuals just, okay, they go into Silicon Valley because there's, the tech boom basically, and they want, they can pay cash for like a $200,000 house or something like that, something like that. Of course, yeah, it was probably a little cheaper in 2000s, $200,000. Now it's like three, 400, $500,000 in the Silicon Valley area, Santa Clara, San Jose, some Fremont, those type of places. And so for you, your listeners who listen to this Get a Job in Tech podcast, what's the takeaway for you? What's the big takeaway for you? What, the knowledge, if you will, right? I'll say for me, I what I do is I try to learn every day something new, and I try to just watch my expenses and watch what I'm buying and think about, do I really need it? And that goes for everything, really, right? And I'll tell you, there's companies out there who offer me more money than what I make now. No, I'm trying to offer. They didn't offer me, but I'll interview for them, and then we'll talk a little bit, right, and all stuff. And before we get to the point where there's even offer, right, they'll say like what they want to get paid, and then I have to go in and work there, meaning I have to work in their office, right? And I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I don't want to do it. Me personally, right? That's just me. Now it may change, right? I mean, heck, if people offer me, $1 million a year, like before they even stop saying like they're going to offer me that, like even before they say we're going to offer you 1 million, yes, and I'll say yes. Of course, everybody has a price. Come on, who doesn't have a price? Don't let anybody fool you, right? Everybody has a price and how much they want to make. And I don't know, it's like almost like a waiting pattern, if you will, kind of waiting to see what everything happens and waiting to see all the different migrations to different states, and then kind of like, okay, what state's a nice state to move to, working from home. Because you work from home, you can work anywhere. now you're looking at like, okay, where do I want to work at that has high speed internet? Like for me, right? If I'm thinking like, where do I want to live at? I want to live with somewhere where it has high speed internet. That's bottom line. That's the first one right there. Somewhere where it doesn't snow all the time, like all year round, basically, right? Somewhere where I can drive, within 4 or 5 hours, let's say, to like a water destination, like a big lake or an ocean, right? That's that. And oddly enough, California fits all those, but I don't want to live in California. I just don't, right? California is one of those unique places. Actually, it's interesting. You live in, say, San Francisco, and you live in San Francisco or live in Santa Clara, or you can live in Gilroy, which is like the garlic capital world. Within 4 hours, you can be in the snow, or within like, either way. 4 hours you can be in the ocean, or 4 hours you can be in the snow. Either way, because that's just how that state is built, and it's just sad that that's what's going on. People moving out of that state, and New York, New York's a little different. I mean, obviously, I've been to New York and all that, and New York City, and it's different. I mean, it's not like you can go. You can, it has the harsh winters, some of them, right? And a lot of people, what they do is they live in New Jersey, and then they drive into New York City. What I think you're seeing now is you're seeing folks that live in live in New Jersey, and their companies are saying, "Hey, um, like what's a good example? What's a company out there? J.P. Morgan, right? That comes to mind. They have offices in New York City, like Lower Manhattan, like the financial district. Like what is it, 34th Street or something like that, and below? Maybe. Oh no, that's lower than that. It's like I think that's like 10th Street and below. Anyway, in Manhattan. Like, I'm talking like I live there. I don't live there, but I've been there. But anyway, so these folks they live in New Jersey, and the company says, hey, we don't need you here in office. You can work from home. Now the people in New Jersey are like, wait a minute, just like California, they're like, wait a minute, I make, they make over six figures. I'm sure that's the case. They make over six figures, and they're like, well, we live in this, $500,000 house in New Jersey. Well, let's just move. If we work from home, let's just move. Let's move to another state. So they're probably looking at New Jersey or Florida, and probably Texas. They're looking at Texas. So, there's a little bit of vacuum maybe. Obviously, people are going to move to New York. It's probably not going to be everybody leaving, right? Because some people don't have the means to do that, right? Which brings me to my point, my long point, if you will, on this one, is to have enough money. Be prepared. Like like the individuals out there, like if you're working, if you know somebody, or if you're working at Walmart or McDonald's right now during the pandemic, you have, you can only go up, right? You can only go up. And maybe you're making 10, 12, 15 bucks an hour or whatever, right? And if the government says they're going to raise the minimum wage or whatever to 15 an hour, let's say, right? So if you do the math, you think like somebody makes right now they make $16 an hour, let's say, right? And the minimum wage, I think it's 8 or 9, 7, one of those two. I don't even know myself. So anyway, the difference between the minimum wage and the wage that the person makes, 16 bucks an hour. Now maybe it took them 2, 3, 4 years or whatever to get to that level of 15, 16 bucks an hour. So now what happens is you have the minimum wage, the federal minimum wage, if you will, go up to 15 an hour. Okay, so now that person makes 16. It's really gonna they're probably gonna feel a certain way. Like, hey, wait a minute. Here I am. I worked, this long, this 2 years or whatever, just to make 16, and somebody new coming in makes 15 an hour. That's not fair. That's not fair. And so that's one thing. That's why, really, obviously, that's what I talk about, getting a better job all the time in tech, because you don't need a degree. No one needs a degree to get a job in tech. Don't be fooled by all that, right? I know I'll tell you an individual I know, and he has a green card, right? And he's here. He's been here like 2 years or something like that. Anyway, so he's got a double E degree, a electrical engineering degree from another country. Okay, and I talked to him a couple times and all that stuff, and cool guy, right, and all that. But where he works at now, it's it's okay. He works at Walmart, right? Whatever. And it's a obviously it's easy for me looking on the other side and say, hey, this person, wow, you should just get a degree, or get a job in some field other than working at Walmart. But for me to say that, I don't understand his story, his situation, all this stuff, right? And if I was to give him advice, which I have actually, because right now he's taking a course in CCNA, right? And which is great. And he's, I mentioned to him, and I'll mention to you. I'll tell you the same advice I tell him. I told him rather, I should say, and it's this. Right now, what's going on is he told me, yeah, he's in like his second semester or second segment of the course, right? I guess the CCNA, there's a course and it's like a year long or something. So he's doing his second one, a second part of the course, if you will, right? And so I had mentioned to him, I said, you have 100 people in your class, let's say, right? And he was meant to, what he said was he's going to get his CCNA and then he's going to look for a job. And, of course, I asked him about OSPF and RIP and BGP and some of the other protocols. Do you know that? Do you know ERGRP? Have you studied that? Have you studied variable as a VLSM, variable subnet link mask, or subnetting? Subnetting? Yes. And I asked him those questions, and just I basically told him, I said you have 100 people in your course, and there are those 100 individuals. They're probably doing the same thing you're doing, where they're going to wait till they have CCNA to go in and even look for a job because they've probably been taught that way or whatever, right? So I told him, I said, because he's over 30, and I said these people are most likely they're under 30 years old, and you're not. Okay, so now competition comes into play, and I mentioned him. I said, those 100 individuals, you go the day after you get your CCNA, which is another 8 months or whatever, right? So the market could have been changed, and you don't know if you're going to have a job or not in CCNA. Most likely he will, but why not? Why wait? So what I mentioned to him was, I said, start interviewing right now. Start interviewing right now, this very second, and put your resume out there. Put like your name, your email address, and your phone number. Done. Don't put your address, all that stuff, and put your CCNA, like pending CCNA or something like that, like whatever course you're taking, and then pending CCNA, and then start applying. Just 100 places a week. I said, just apply to 100 places a week. And the reason I told him, I said, the reason you do this is because you exercise, because you don't know how to apply for a CCNA. You don't know CCNA. You don't know what they need. And start applying. Exercise your mind. Exercise your interview muscles, if you will. And the reason I said this is because typically what happens is people that are in his situation, what they'll do is they'll look for a job, and they're taught a certain way, meaning he went to college and he had, and so he may not think like the other way, which is like, okay, you know what? I don't need all that stuff. I'll just try. Who cares? I fail, whatever. So I said, what happens typically is this: individuals go through the course, right? And then they apply somewhere, right? And let's say the market says a CCNA is worth $20 an hour, right? Okay. So what they'll end up doing is, a lot of times, mostly, right, because they don't have the experience of being in other interviews beforehand, they usually take the first or second offer they have, or third offer they have, and it could be low. It could be $20 an hour, it could be $18 an hour, but the market says they're worth $20 an hour, and so they end up taking less money. Like, oh, I don't know a lot, so I'll take the less money. And that's the mindset because they're in a hurry. Oh my gosh, I'm in a hurry. I need a job quickly. And that's the thought process that goes on. I know that because I've been in a situation before. I'll tell you a story, right? So I went to college, right? And it wasn't until, must have been 5, 6 years ago, whatever, something like that, where I thought, you know what? I don't need a degree. Like, I don't need a degree to get this job. I just need the skill set. And that's why that's how I thought. But it's more than that, 5 years ago. But um, and for this individual who working in Walmart, I said, you know, why waste the time? I said, take your time. Take your time. Take a week. Take 4 hours a week to interview. Meaning to go and to look for a job. And most interviews now are through Zoom or through WebEx or through some face video platform, right? That they have. So it's not like you're going to have to go face to face with somebody. And as I mentioned, I said, I suggested really, I said, apply anywhere, anywhere and everywhere, every state imaginable, apply, and then look for that. Now, obviously, um, he didn't, right? He's not going to do that. He said, "Oh yeah, I appreciate it, thanks, but I'm going to do it how I do it." And look, I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know how to tell somebody or to show somebody or to, because on one hand, you want to be a good friend, right? On the other hand, you're like, what, don't you understand? I mean, the market, it's like if I guess I understand, right? Like if Bill Gates ever told me some knowledge or something, I probably wouldn't take it, probably. So I get it. I'm not comparing myself to Bill Gates or in that situation, but maybe it's the same thing where, if it's, you know, a lot of times, people have skepticism or what is it? They have their what is it? What's the word? Per pessimistic glasses on, if you will. Like, oh, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it, right? Like, oh, it can't be that easy to get a job in tech. No, 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 no. That's no, no. I've been taught this whole way the other time. I've been taught the other way for how many years, and you're telling me something different, Gary. What are you doing? No, no. That's not. No, no, no. Ignore that. No, I don't know that it's human nature. It's just think people taught a different way. And I get it, there, like I was taught, right, going to high school and all that stuff. You gotta go to college to get a degree, and then you'll get a good job and all that stuff, right? Which is it's not always accurate. If you're gonna be a lawyer, you need to go to college, right? You gotta have that JD, Juris Doctorate or whatever it's called, the degree. If you want to be a doctor, you gotta have a degree, Uh, but if you want to be the IT person, you don't. And the ROI, right, for a doctor. No, let's say an ROI for what do you call it, a lawyer is I think 40,000 a year if I'm being conservative for college. So 40,000 a year from times 4 years, it's like 160 grand, right? So the ROI is pretty good. Oh no, it might be a 5 year thing. 200,000. So the ROI on that is a lot higher because I think they can charge like $500 an hour, right? And so ROI is good. So you figure if they work, I don't know, if they make 500,000 a year, right? They're pretty good, however long it takes them to do that. That's a pretty good ROI type of degree. Doctor, same way probably. I think it's 8 years. So that's like what, maybe 400,000, maybe more. I don't know. And so they're probably making 200,000 a year, I think. So that's pretty good ROI, or return on investment. Okay, now let's go to IT or tech, if you will, right? And just your basic tech stuff, right? If we just say, okay, help desk. I always, I always talk to the lowest form here. I'm not trying to go in the clouds here with system admin and system engineer and network engineer. No, 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 no. That's most people can't even reach that from the first step, they're not going to reach that from the first step. They don't have the discipline to go in and just do that. Most people need to have steps like help desk, then sysadmin, then or you know help desk, junior sysadmin, so on and so forth. And so just making a change or making up going to just help desk is a huge ROI. So help desk, right? So what is ROI in help desk job, right? So that's like 15, 16, 18 bucks an hour, something like that, right? And you're making 10 at Walmart or whatever. So the ROI is quite a lot, actually. It's more your time than anything else. So I'm going back to this. If I'm going back to the individual who works at Walmart, who does CCNA, now he paid for the CCNA, and it was like 5,000, I think, or something like that. I think it was what he told me. And 5,000. So his $5,000 that he pays, uh, oddly enough, right? He told me while I was talking to him. He said, um, what the instructor does is they just go off the slides from Cisco.com. So, like, basically, somebody is taking a slide and just regurgitating the slide, meaning it's like RIP or OSPF or EIGRP or whatever, and they're regurgitating it to the students. And they're saying this is how this works, whatever, and then they're using like packet tracer or whatever or physical routers to implement that. So and they're paying $5,000. So you figure, I think it's like 30 people in the class actually. So 30 people times $5,000, that's what, $150,000, right? For a year of courses, like for this individual, and that's pretty good. So you figure probably let's say the building is getting half of that, right? So the building is, all that stuff for the rental of the course or whatever. So they're making, 75,000, and the other person's making 75,000 for a year just from teaching one course. Now, probably a person has to know what they're talking about, obviously, right? And that to be Cisco certified, probably, or some sort of Cisco tech. What is it? Cisco. There's a certification you can get. It's like a Cisco teaching cert, like you're a trainer, certified trainer or something. Anyway, and it's good money if you can get it. Um, yeah, so it's just this person's being entrepreneurial. That's all it is, and making those choices. Meanwhile, the person working at Walmart is, the ROI $5,000. He's paid $5,000. Doesn't have anything from it yet. He has knowledge, but he doesn't have a job from it yet. Okay, whereas maybe just watch a course online or YouTube, and I get it. That's hard. Not everybody has the discipline to do that. Which I'll tell you, if you go on my YouTube channel, just go Gary McNeely, or go to Commvault Whisperer, one of those two. Links in the show notes. And I talk actually about RIP, OSPF. I do a couple videos on RIP, like Router Information Protocol. I do one on Cisco packet tracer, right? How to download and all that stuff. And it's going to be difficult, but I would say this individual, um, I would say instead of starting at Cisco and all that stuff, I'd say start at Help Desk, because Help Desk is free. You can go to my course, which is get a job. It's on Udemy. Just look me up on Udemy, and I could teach the course there. I have like 4 courses, and you can learn to get a job in tech and get a high-paying job. And because I teach you the basics, right? I teach you as if you know nothing. Okay, so I teach you how to use Active Directory, how to log into Active Directory, and so those are just really good skill sets actually to learn. And so it's not like we're going to get less tech, right? You know that, right? People have to, you probably know in your job field, you're not going to get less technical. Computers are here to stay. IT is here to stay. Technical jobs like that are here to stay. And if you can get in now, the market, you're going to have No, I don't think the tech market is ever gonna, what do you call it? Well, they'll require people to have certain type of certifications to get in a job, like it's mandatory, just regular outside the world jobs. But why take a chance on that? Why say I'm going to wait until they make it harder to get into tech, get a job in tech, and then I'll go, right? Maybe that's it right there. It's one of those. It's weird because tech is one of those industries where you don't need a lot of experience at all. Like, you probably really don't need a lot at all, actually. You just need a weekend worth of knowledge, which is Active Directory and a couple other things, setting up a server. That's it. And you're a help desk, and you know the soft skills, really, right? And then the plateau is whatever you want, however high you want to, you have it. You can start with nothing, and out of nothing and no way, a way will be made for you in tech. I'd love to. I'd love it if the people listening to this podcast would like to just engage with me and go on Twitter. My handle is Gary McNeil IT. Maybe just ask me a question, something you want to talk about. Obviously, I'm very real. You know, I'm very real as far as tech is concerned, because it does you no good for me to like say these big words and blah 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 blah, and they're like, I have no idea what that means, but it sounds cool. Can I get into it? And like, let's say for instance you bought my course, right? And you don't like it. Well, you're gonna like it because I made it, and as long as you stick with it, right? That's the whole thing. But I don't try to go over your head. That's the whole deal with me, right? It does, like I said, if I teach you how to do something, that means you know how to do it. And I don't teach you the whole fluffy material, all that stuff, right? Oh, this is this theory, No, no, no. None of that stuff matters in a job. No one cares in a job. They don't care. They don't care if you know, because a lot of the tech stuff, right? You learn as you go. You just need to know the basics, right? And then get in and go. People make it so over. They make it sound so complicated. Oh my gosh, you gotta know all that. You don't. There's just a lot of stress. That's all it is, right? So, and Google's your friend. Google is your friend. There, I can't stress that enough. If you don't know, just say I don't know, and then go to Google. Like, so what? A company says, your work for coming in. Oh, I don't want to say I don't know. Well, who cares? They don't know. A lot of times they don't know either. This stuff changes all the time. You don't know. There's a lot of foundational stuff that'll never change. But customer service is never going to change. Just treat the customer great. Bottom line, done. And you know, if, if you're like a, what do you call it? If you're a person that, if you don't want to change, if you don't want to get better, if you're just like, like some of these people who, like, I don't know, they live in the woods or something, right? And they don't want the internet or whatever because of whatever, right? Um, or they don't be around people. Then don't stay in tech. Don't even go to tech. We don't want you. We don't want you in tech. You're not the right people for us. No, don't go to tech. You're just going to ruin it for other people. Stay out of tech. Stick with your farming job or whatever you're doing. Don't come in our field. Stay out. You know. But if you're a person that wants to learn, wants to get better, wants to contribute to other people, making them better. See, that's the misconception really people have about tech. They think it's like, oh, you as the tech person have to know all these things, right? You're on a team and you have to know all these things. And what if I don't know? Well, so what? So what if you don't know, right? Guess what? It's not a big deal. Maybe there's 5 or 6 people, whatever. Maybe there's 2 people. So what? Call somebody. Call the company. Call the vendor. You're working on, let's say, Commvault, right? Call Commvault and say, listen, Commvault, I don't know how this works. Can you explain it to me? They'll do it for you. So don't get a hang up about that stuff. Like, I talk to a lot of people sometimes, and they always, they were like, they're nurses or whatever, or they work at Walmart or something, or McDonald's or wherever they work at, and they're so like, wow, tech is like so much now, so much to learn. And I tell them, they know you don't have to learn. There's not a lot to learn. It's not. No, most of it's like, okay, I'm gonna learn today, and I'm gonna forget on Monday, and not to learn again. Or what did I do? Oh yeah, and that's where you take. That's why you take notes, or that's why you talk to other people and like, what did I do? Or even better yet, that's why you have a YouTube channel like yours truly, where I forget stuff and I just go and say, how did I do that? I watch my own video. I can't tell you how many times that I've watched my own combo videos actually. where where like what was it recently? It was like something about something it was to have to do with Commvault's the backup software, by the way, in case you didn't know. But has something to do with Linux. One of the commands, I forget that, right? I don't do it all the time. Um, that specific thing. And I had to watch my own video and like, oh, okay, that's why I did it. Oh yeah, I forgot. That's common. That's common. And it's a progression. If you know, it's like you can't break anything really. Like, what you do is you go to work and you just ask a lot of questions like, how do you do this and whatever. Or, I don't know. I didn't really learn that. Can you show me how? Maybe you take notes or maybe you take a screenshot or whatever, however you learn, or and then what you do is you go home and learn it. And then you break it at home. Don't do it at work. Break it at home. Um, because then you're like, oh yeah, because what you're after, right? I think you've heard this in my podcast. What you're after is that aha moment. Like, wow, I learned. Wow, I feel great. I feel validated because I know now what it is that I didn't know. It's nothing like that feeling. Like, oh, that's what it did, and you change the setting or something in Windows, and um, well, I could give you a specific point. Okay, me specifically. Um, I remember uninstalling Internet Explorer from Windows, and guess what happened? I had to reinstall the whole ass. I didn't do it at work. I did it like in VirtualBox because I just like, oh no, did I do it? No, I did it on my own computer. I don't like Internet Explorer, right? So I uninstalled it, and sure enough, what happened? I had to reinstall the whole thing, because Internet Explorer, like, no, it doesn't want to be uninstalled because it's part of the program. It's built in or whatever. And I learned. Oh, okay, I learned. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, um, the working from home, try to get a job working from home if you can. And even if it's lower money than what you get paid now, maybe you work at Walmart, right? And you get paid $10 an hour, and and they're like, hey, you can work from home for $9 an hour with another company, like let's say, and you're like, oh, I don't want to, I don't want to make $9 an hour, and that's less money than I make now, blah blah. What you don't understand is like you're working from home, friend. You want to get up and you want to drive. Like I remember, right, for me, I remember getting up like 6:36 or whatever, right, and driving to work, and it's like 30 minutes, whatever, an hour away, 20 minutes, 30, whatever. 30 minutes is what it is. So I drive to work, right? Then they get there, and then I'm there, and then 8 o'clock I start working, because I just go on early and I start working. And then like 12, I stop working. And then 12, 12:30, right? I do lunch or whatever, right? And then 1 o'clock, or yeah, 12:30, sorry, I go back to work, and then I work till like say 4 or 5, and then I do that Monday through Friday, okay? And that's and then I drive home, and it's 30 minutes back. So I really dedicated a whole day to just that one job, actually, right? Now Walmart's different because you have different shifts, you have different schedules, right? So you can imagine working Walmart, right? You probably have, I assume, every month maybe your shifts changes. Like maybe they put you on nights or something. Maybe you're on days this day, whatever. Um, but think about it, right? I, me, whatever, whoever who used to go to a job working, driving, or in your case, you drive to work. You get up, you drive to work, a half hour to drive there, let's say, then a half hour back. That's an hour of your time. And then preparing, right? Preparing ahead of time, preparing to go. That's probably at least 2 hours just to get there. And then you, oh yeah, hi, niceties or whatever. And the whole time you can't get on the computer. You can't look for another job. You can't research other things. You can't, um, you know, take a break and look for a better job or teach yourself something. You can't do that. You're on the floor moving box to box or stocking shelves or whatever you do in a Walmart. Or you can do that if you're working from home. You can be working from home and you can be, take a 15-minute break, answer an email, personal email, answer a phone call, personal call, apply for a second job, let's say, right, or whatever you want to do. You can't do that working in a 9 to 5, you know. And I know people are like, oh, well, everybody stops working from home, or if everybody's working from home, blah, 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 then nobody will be working, everybody, what do they say? Like, if everybody works from home, then nobody's going to be, come on, that's not even going to happen at all. Always going to need people to work in the office, always. Are always going to be people doing that, right? And not everybody wants to work from home, actually. You probably see that, right? Because they miss the human interaction of going into work, and it's a trade-off, really, right? So I say, like, so in a perfect world, right? If you if you like, it's almost like a staycation, right? I'm actually working towards this myself, really, right? Where I work from home and I travel, so I have enough. Let's say I have enough. I don't have enough yet, but let's say I have enough residual income to where I can work from home, like for my job, and then have enough income to where I can pay for my hotel or Airbnb or whatever, right? So the thought process is to like travel around the states or even Canada, right? And working from home in the same way. So like Monday or Sunday, let's say Saturday and Sunday, right? You drive somewhere on Saturday and it's like 6 hours away, let's say 8 hours away, right? And you're there the whole day Saturday, okay, and you're there. Maybe you drive another, let's say it's 15 hours away, right? Let's say, okay. So you take the whole weekend to drive 15 hours, and then you live like an Airbnb, right? A hotel, like cheaper hotel, or an Airbnb, probably Airbnb better because you got humans there, and you work from home there, or you find an internet cafe in that city, right? And then, so I would do is I drive 15 hours one way in a weekend, like maybe break it up into 2 days, right? And then drive somewhere 15 hours away, and then stay there a whole week, and just like or 2 weeks, right? And just explore, and figure out what's it like here and all that stuff. And then the next 2 weeks, drive to another city that's say 15 hours away, and so that's 30 hours, and it takes I think it probably takes I think 24. It probably takes like 50 hours I think or 60 hours to drive from say Maine to like the far, from two parts of the United States, I think, 60 hours, let's say. So I could probably do that in a month's time or 6 months' time, really, right? Where I take like 2 weeks and I go from city to city in one direction and then city to city the other direction. And I do that in 6 months or even a year. That's what I want to do, right? Really. So you figure um, Airbnb, like an average of, let's say, $60 a night, right? Let's say $60 a night, an average of, so $60 6 times Uh, you know, 300 days, right? What is that? That's like 18,000, I think. Something like that. 300 times 60, is that right? That's 180,000. No, I think it's $18,000. Anyway, whatever it is. 20,000. I think that's what it is. Anyway, so $20,000 to travel to, Airbnb, right? Not, gas is different, right? But 20,000 in a year just to travel everywhere, go to Airbnb and stay in this place and this place. That seems like a fun idea, I think, in my view. Let me actually figure out what is it? It's 60 times 60 times, let's say 300, let's say 360 days, right? Let's say that's $21,000. So I just need $21,000 of extra income, right? Just travel everywhere. Just go, 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 right? You know, okay. That's cool. Good idea. just to travel for a whole year in the United States, right? Like, come on, really? That's all I need? An average of $60 a night for Airbnb, let's say, or hotels? Whoa, okay, that's doable, And that's what I'm after, really, right? That's the whole idea, just to do that, travel, and yeah, that's really nice, Why not, right? Like, there's so many people out there, right? Not that I haven't met yet. So many different, cities that have different vibes to them or cultures to them I haven't met yet. Really nice idea, right? And then when COVID's done, or whenever the open flights back up or whatever to the other countries, same deal. Try to go and work from home in some other state, or I'm sorry, some other country, and in a state, let's say, and then drive or take the train or whatever with the internet. Of course, you got to have internet. Airbnb, the same thing again, right? Probably be better Airbnb because Airbnb, you're going to have good internet, I think, right? A lot of times because you can call the people ahead of time, the Airbnb hosts, and say, "Hey, do you have internet? You have good internet?" And they'll say, "Oh yeah, we do." And that's the benefit for me, or for anybody really to do this is to do Airbnb because you're going to have internet when you get there. That's the whole deal there. Not that because you probably know sometimes hotels you're in, they don't always have internet. That's good. No, 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 and it's all Wi-Fi and it's clunky sometimes, right? Where Airbnb, you're in somebody's home, and there's a good chance they have internet because you can look on Airbnb. Does this person have Wi-Fi in their house or do they have internet? And the answer is yes. And so yeah. So that's what I want, right? That's what I'd like to do. I'm selfish. Everybody's selfish, right? Don't be anybody fool you. Yeah, I'm selfish enough to where if I get what I want, I help other people get what they want. Obviously, there's a thing that says Zig Ziglar says if you help enough people get what they want, then you can have what you want, and that's the case. That's what I want. So putting it out there to the universe. Universe, I want this. I would like to, in exchange. I'm not sure how they talk about how the abundance mentality or the what do you call it um, where you ask universe or something, but I'm just going to throw it out there, the universe, I would like to do these things, and I would like to, in exchange for doing these things, I'm going to talk to people and educate them, and they're going to educate me, and maybe I can learn something, they can learn something too, another human interaction to see how things work. So that's what I'm after, universe. So universe, provide me with a plan to or some sort of method, if you will, for me to earn enough money, if you will, which is I'll be specific, which is $21,600 for a year's worth of travel. Okay. All right. Yeah, I've told the universe what I want. So sorry for that little tangent there with anybody. Appreciate it. So thanks everybody for listening to this podcast, and enjoy 2020. We'll see you in the next year.